Well, hi. Today is Monday, December 29th, 2025. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. We're going to roll the clock back just briefly to the end of October when an event called Voices in Vision was held at the Mid-America Center, and the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce was a big part of this, also the Iowa West Foundation, and this was the results from a study that had been going on for the last couple of years to find out where Council Bluffs is, how the residents feel about living here, businesses, and everything else that went into this. Very comprehensive study. And it was presented back then at the end of October at this event. About 200 people were there at the MAC that day. I was one of those 200. And there was also a questionnaire that was done there. And now all of that information is available too. So we have a special two-part interview coming up with Chris LaFerla. Chris is the CEO and president of the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce. He presented at Voices in Vision and also has some new information to pass along in this two-part series. So you are going to get a look at some of the slides that were presented and some of the things that Chris talked about then, and also some of the new information as well. So Chris LaFerla, our guest, coming up today on Morning Coffee. As the new year begins, the Acres in Council Bluffs is ready to help couples and organizations plan unforgettable celebrations. Set on 13 beautiful acres, the Acres offers flexible, stress-free venue with no hidden fees and full freedom to choose your own vendors. From weddings and receptions to corporate gatherings and milestone events, the space comfortably hosts up to 200 guests with everything you need for a seamless experience. Start the year by securing the perfect setting for your next event. Learn more and schedule a tour at theacresvenue.com. Good morning. Start with peace of mind, and Miners Healthcare provides professional in-home support where it matters most, helping individuals maintain comfort, dignity, and independence in their daily lives. Their experienced nursing team focuses on personalized care, clear communication, and supporting families through every step of the process. It's healthcare built on trust, compassion, and real relationships. Learn more at minershealthcare.com. A leak, a clogged drain, or a big remodel? That's right in the wheelhouse for Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs. They've got you covered with fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installation. WaldsteinPlumbing.com is the website, and you can get a hold of them for a free estimate. And Morning Coffee brought to you by Steve Erlob, your Edward Jones financial advisor in Council Bluffs. Learn how he can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com for more. Edward Jones, member SIPC. New look here at the studios on Willow as we are in a different studio and welcoming Chris LaFerla. He is the president and CEO of the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce. Very happy that you came over and joined us today. And I've been watching all of the progress that's been going on at the chamber since you took over, and I speak for a lot of people because we've been talking about it. We're excited about what's going on and the growth that we're seeing.
Well, that's great to hear. Thank you for saying that. And thanks for having me on the podcast today. Love the new office. And, it's just such a cool thing to see you breathe a little bit of new life into this building in the downtown. Such a cool building, too.
Oh, yeah. Here in the Park building, it is the history that this building has in Council Bluffs. I was very happy when I saw they were going to be able to save it after the water damage from a couple of years ago, and I think it was kind of touch and go there for a while, but they have doing a full rehabilitation and everything's done, I think, except for the top floor, and that, from what I've been told, is not far away. So we're just going to keep bringing in businesses back in, and let's get this thing filled back up again, and it's really going to make things vibrant in downtown, I think.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That's great.
You recently spoke at an event at the Mid-America Center that I was at, and it was called Voices in Vision, and you had a presentation that you were telling folks about. Now, there was a lot of people there in attendance. There's also more that weren't, and I'm not sure that they heard everything in the way that you presented it, and that's why I was thrilled that you agreed to come back on and we could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. We, when I say we, the Chamber and the Iowa West Foundation partnered with the city of Council Bluffs on work that's really been going on for the better part of this whole year. Yeah. And the purpose of the work that we were doing was really to hear from the residents of Council Bluffs on a few things that I'll touch on. And the Voices and Vision event was intended to share what we heard and some of the research that we'd been doing. And you're right, there was about 200 people there, but we are on the sort of extended effort now of getting this information out to as many people as we can. So, I've got some slides to walk you through and some good information. I think some of it is going to be what people expected, and some of it's going to be a little surprising.
Well, for me,
but all of it is good.
For me, as I was sitting there and listening, I was surprised, not by the information, but by the fact that the study learned this. Because as I was looking at the questionnaire and everything when I filled mine out, and then when I heard the report back, I said, all of this is right, but I didn't know this was going to come from this study.
Yeah.
So let's learn a little bit more about everything that was in that report. So I know we've got some slides that we're going to show in the program, and we're able to see them here as well. So just kind of walk us through what this study was able to find out, and really we were able to discover about ourselves.
Sure. So, just to kind of kick things off and, lay the groundwork, a little background on how this all started. A little over a year ago, iWest Foundation board, Brenda Mainwaring at the iWest Foundation attended one of my board meetings at the Chamber of Commerce, and we had a conversation about, what we assume are some important things for the community. We'd been looking at some demographic data and trends in the population over time, and identified that we need to figure out how to grow the population of Council Bluffs for many reasons. But as a Chamber of Commerce, we're really focused on growing and strengthening the business community, growing the local economy, and supporting, a community that's growing and developing and enhancing the quality of life for its residents. And what came out of that was conversations about how we could partner on, one, how do we confirm the census data that we've been looking at? So phase 2 kind of started earlier this summer, where we hired professional researchers. So we contracted with the UNO Department of Public Affairs Research, and they conducted a census deep dive for Pottawatomie County and compared us to Omaha Metro Region and other parts of the western Iowa. And after that, we also partnered with UNO to conduct a community survey. That survey was open to everyone. We shared it on our chamber website, sent it out to all of our 600 members. iWest Foundation shared the survey link with their constituents. The city of Council Bluffs posted it. We did as much as we could to get this survey out to as many people as we could. And the purpose of the survey was we wanted to hear from the people that live and or work in Council Bluffs on what do you love about this community, what are our biggest challenges, and what are our biggest opportunities, with the purpose of using that information to inform what our next steps are going to be in attracting and retaining more people in Council Bluffs, specifically young professionals and young families, because as we'll get to here in a few minutes, our population is aging. Right. And so we really need to think critically about how we're going to do a better job of attracting and retaining those young workers and families. After that, I was invited to participate on a little trip to Grand Rapids, Michigan with the iWest Foundation Board, where we learned more about what they are doing in Grand Rapids for talent attraction and retention.
Is there a similarity between Grand Rapids and Council Bluffs? Is that where that connection came from?
They're actually, the reason why Grand Rapids was chosen is because LinkedIn named Grand Rapids through a few sort of data points that they look at. the top talent attraction region in the country. So we visited there, and there is a neighboring community, Muskegon, that probably, demographically and economically looks a little bit more like Council Bluffs, and the board visited that community as well. Phase 3, after we'd collected the survey responses and really dove into those, we contracted with Roll Call, which is a talent attraction company based here in Iowa. They do work all over the country. And they came in to Council Bluffs and conducted focus groups with a smaller group of people, using those survey results to kind of dig in further and learn from those individuals. What is it that is most important to you about Council Bluffs, and what are our greatest opportunities? After that, Roll Call conducted community working groups to take the survey data, the focus group data, and build out a few actions that we can take as a community. And we presented a sort of recap of all of this, the demographic data, the survey data, the focus group and community working group data. We shared all of that out at the Voices and Vision event in October. So it's a lot. It was about a 2-hour presentation, and we really could only hit the highlights. But after we did that, we posted all of that information, and the full video of the Voices and Vision presentation is on the Chamber website. It's on the Iowa West Foundation's website. It's all there for people to dig into. But I realized that not everybody is really willing to go dive into hundreds of pages of survey and focus group information and watch a 2-hour presentation on YouTube. So we wanted to condense all of that into a 20 to 30 minute recap presentation that we are now taking out in the community. And that's why I'm here.
The different groups that were all looking for the same type of information that we can learn from, were they in agreement about things? Was it were they getting different findings, and then those things had to be melded together, or was it okay, we're all kind of coming to a similar conclusion here?
There were themes that emerged, and that's really what we're presenting on. I think a big takeaway is that we have a lot to offer in this community. There is consensus among most people around, what our greatest amenities are that we really need to lean into, and what some of the challenges are, that specifically from a talent attraction and retention standpoint, we probably should focus on. And that is really what we wanted to present. We really want to focus on the themes. What do people agree on? And, focus a little bit less on some of the findings where you're just not quite sure what they mean. Because in any survey, you're going to kind of get conflicting evidence. So that's what we're focused on.
Well, let's take a look at some of these different findings that you had.
So, really quickly, we had over 2,000 people respond to that survey, which is just a tremendous turnout for what they call a convenience survey, where we're just leaving it out there open to anyone. People voluntarily take it, and we're not, targeting a random sampling of people. There were 45 participants in the focus groups, 65 participants in the community work session, and then a little over 200 attendees at the Voices and Vision event.
And I do remember at that event, there were questions being asked that we were voting on. At the event. So that's where that particular touch point of the 200 comes in, because you were still gathering information.
Correct.
At that point.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. That's a great point. We were sharing out what we learned, and at the same time capturing real-time feedback from the attendees on, how do you feel about this? Do you think that this is something that is true or something we should focus on? Do you agree? And that was helpful. And I'm actually I included some of that in the slideshow. So just getting into these first two slides really just kind of show sort of the background about why we did this. This is a a very simple U.S. Census data total population in the orange of Council Bluffs compared to the total population in the green of the Omaha Council Bluffs metropolitan area. And it's a little hard to see just because of the size of Omaha's population, but since about 1970, 1990, our population really hasn't changed very much at all.
It looks pretty stagnant.
But the population of the Omaha metro area has nearly doubled in size. So we are part of a growing metropolitan region, but for some reason, we're just not capturing much of that population growth. And as I mentioned before, there are a lot of reasons why population growth is important. Our businesses need new customers. They want to grow. It's the total population, a growing population, is a strong indicator that your local economy is going to be strong. Growing populations attract new business investment. No business wants to risk locating their business expansion or their new headquarters or their new manufacturing plant in an area where that isn't growing. They need that workforce, and they need assurance that their investment is going to lead to something. So population growth is important economically for those reasons, but also, for a city where the cost of providing basic city services continues to rise and our tax base is stagnant, that burden is going to shift somewhere. It's either going to shift to taxpayers or it's going to result in a reduction in city services or something like that. So growing the population in a responsible, steady way is a really good way to ensure that city services can continue to operate and our city can thrive.
Well, and that challenge is you talk about the businesses with the jobs need to be there. The people need to be there, but they need each other.
Yeah.
So how do you grow that together? Because you're not going to have one way ahead of the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get into some pretty sticky situations
Right.
when you got a lot of people and not a whole lot of jobs.
Exactly.
So you're right. There needs to be a balance, but right now, we have a pretty steady, stable source of jobs, but we do need to grow the population, particularly with those young workers and families, and that's what this slide is depicting here. This is called a population pyramid, and really it's just showing the number of people represented in the population in each of those age groups from 0 to 4, 5 to 9, et cetera, all the way up to 85 plus. And in a really healthy, growing, vibrant community, what you'd like to see is a greater percentage of the overall population represented in that 20 to 45 age range. Those are your childbearing ages. And with us, you see little indentations in those age ranges and a corresponding indentation in the 0 to 15 age range.
Right.
Because, obviously, with a smaller number of childbearing age residents, you are probably going to have a smaller number of children. And so, that this is a sign that our population is aging, and it's a little concerning.
So looking at that, then I'm assuming that a lot of the different organizations that were presented with the same data and the people that you've talked to all recognize the same thing, that we are not keeping young people here at the rate that we really need to.
Yeah. Yeah, when you compare our population pyramid to the population pyramids of Sarpy County and Douglas County across the river, you will see bulges in those young professional, childbearing age, and children. So there's something that is happening in Council Bluffs where we're either losing or not retaining or not attracting young people to Council Bluffs comparatively with Douglas and Sarpy County. So, that is an indicator, of a vibrant economy and, a vibrant community where you have schools that, are growing and have children in those schools. And so, yeah, but one of the things that we did at the Voices and Vision was we were sharing through a real-time capture feedback on things. And one of the questions that I wanted to know from them is, I'm looking at this population data and these population pyramids. I have a concern that our population isn't growing and that our population is aging, but do other people share that concern? I really want to know, because, if that's not shared by everyone else, then maybe we're focused on the wrong thing. But we asked that. I have the feedback here. Overwhelmingly, the people that attended that event agree we have to address this population issue.
This is one of the things, though, I think kind of flew under the radar for a long time, didn't
Yeah.
it? That, we look around, there's younger people in town, we can see them, but not at the percentages that would indicate that we have a vibrant population base
Right.
here.
Yeah. The sky isn't falling. It's just, these are trends that are occurring over time, and they're trending the wrong way. So now is the time to step in and try and do something about it. As I mentioned before, those two slides are really kind of what has been driving this discussion, but we wanted to have UNO, Department of Public Affairs Research, confirm that data for us. Are we looking at the right things? So they did some research. They dove deep into the census data for Pottawatomie County and the area and confirmed a few things. And this slide, I think, is interesting. Over the last 10 years, the population of Pottawatomie County has only grown by 0.5%. Meanwhile, Douglas and Sarpy County have grown by more than 10% in that same time. So that did confirm we do need to focus a little bit more on population growth. Specifically in Pottawatomie County, that 0.5% of growth is coming from natural change. So that's childbirths versus deaths, and international migration. So that's individuals from different countries moving into Pottawatomie County. The domestic migration is negative, and that is the number of people who reside here who leave, and residents of the versus the number of residents of the country that move in. So we are experiencing a net out migration in Pottawatomie County of somewhere around 635 people. In the 2023 data showed about 635 people. Just for reference, the state of Iowa had a net loss of out migration of around 3,400 or 3,500 people total in that same year. So the Pottawatomie County net out migration from 2023 represents 20% of the total, 18% of the total out migration in the entire state of Iowa. So we are losing people and we're losing them a little faster than we're bringing them in.
Yeah, that's a powerful statistic when you look at over the entire state. We represent 20% of it, and we don't represent 20% of the population. Right. So that's, to me, that is very alarming.
Well, it should raise a flag. I don't, like I said, the sky is not falling, but we do need to monitor these trends and step in and do something about it.
Well, you also have on this slide, you're talking about average income, and that can translate to younger people looking for some of the obviously wanting higher paying jobs.
Yes.
And how can they do that? And according to what I'm seeing here, it looks like on average, we could be lacking in that area a little bit.
We are. Our median income is about 43,000 people, which is actually slightly higher than the state median income. But we are really lacking the availability of what they call high wage jobs, which in Pottawatomie County would be jobs that pay more than $60,000 a year. So that is an issue, and I think that as we move forward with other economic development strategies, we should consider, how we address that, increasing that median income. And then they also took a look at our housing stock. Housing is a really important factor in talent retention and attraction, or just attraction and retention of residents in general. And I found it interesting that they shared that the median year that a home was built in Council Bluffs is 1964. That lags behind the statewide average of 1971. And about 25% of our housing stock was built before 1940. So, that's not necessarily a bad thing, having an older housing stock, as long as there's investments in rehabilitating those and keeping them up to date, and that at the same time we are building housing that's attractive to the next generation of individuals. And it's pretty clear in the survey responses that housing, specifically housing affordability, is really an issue.
Well, and oftentimes, you're looking at some of those. We have a lot of historical houses in town that are going to drag that number down, but those are also high value.
Yeah.
And a lot of times a younger person is not going to be able to even think about being in that market because it's just out of their range.
It's tricky, and they're expensive to rehab. They're beautiful. They are, really important to the history of our community. I think, all of us recognize that. But it's not cheap to really invest, across the board in that. But we can do it. And but at the same time, we do need to have plans for building housing that's attractive to a younger generation, and access to home ownership for that group of people. And housing affordability is an issue across the board, across the country. This is not unique to Council Bluffs in any way. Every community is dealing with it. And I actually think that our city and other partners in the community have done a really incredible job of putting programs together to make that home ownership possible for a lot of younger residents. So we're moving in the right direction. There's good things happening.
So these are the things that we can look at stats, we can look at the numbers, we can figure all of this out. But the survey, then that's going to give us a little bit more of an idea of what the population thinks right now.
Right. So let's jump into the survey results. Before we dig into the responses, just a quick overview of who completed the survey. That UNO is really looking for, obviously, the largest number of people they can to complete the survey and make it reliable and representative of the community. And like I said, we had over 2,000 people respond to this survey, and UNO said that was very significant. They do these surveys like this in other communities, and they were really pleased with the turnout. I was thrilled with it. We were shooting for about 650. That was a number that UNO said would give us a reliable sampling, and having 2,000 was just incredible.
I think just past the sampling, the number itself says something.
Yeah.
That in itself, without having an additional question in the survey, says something about
people care.
What people want to their opinions to be heard, and they want to make sure that we have an understanding about what's going on around
Exactly. That's exactly what they told us, and I agree. Interestingly, most respondents have lived in the area for 10 plus years. I guess it's not that interesting because according to UNO's demographic data, that is sort of that's the majority of the people that live in Council Bluffs have been here for more than 10 years. 26% of them were boomerangs, meaning they left Council Bluffs either for school or for a job and came back to the community. Respondents in the prime workforce ages of 25 to 55 are a little overrepresented. That just means that that percentage of people from 25 to 55 that are working is a little higher than the average in the community. 92% identify as white, 62% identify as women. 50% report an annual household income of $100,000 plus, compared to about 28% of households overall. So that group is a little overrepresented as well. And 74% are employed full-time. So let's get into the survey. The first question that we asked, do you currently live and or work in Council Bluffs area? This kind of just gives us an idea of who's responding. 60% of the people that responded both live and work in Council Bluffs. When we kind of took away the total, the big takeaways, I guess, from the things that respondents really felt strongly about, and the things that I think we should celebrate as a community, is that a lot of them have very strong social and family connections in Council Bluffs. That's a huge foundation for us to build on. When you have, grandma and grandma's here and mom and dad are here, the siblings are here, you're more likely to stay. So that is a great foundation for us to build a retention initiative around. 70% feel connected to the Council Bluffs area. So they could be connected through, historically through school, outside of friends and family, connected to a job or a nonprofit organization they volunteer for. There's a lot of different ways that you can feel that connection, but 70% feel strongly connected to Council Bluffs. 59% are excited about the direction of the Council Bluffs area. I think that is significant. I don't think if you survey every community, you're going to get 60% of the people that feel like we're moving in the right direction. They're excited about where we're going. So there's a lot to celebrate in all of this. And 52% feel that Council Bluffs area is investing in the improvements that matter to them. So again, just a great foundation for us to build on, and things that we can celebrate together. This slide is a little tricky to read, but I'll just say, the more blue that you see, the more satisfied people are.
Okay.
The more green you see, the less satisfied they are. The orange means they're not sure, or that's how they responded. And the big takeaways from this is, just in terms of the different things that people have a high level of satisfaction in Council Bluffs. Overall quality of life in Council Bluffs, 73% are satisfied with their overall quality of life. That can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people, but that's 73% is significant. That's huge. The overall cost of living, generally people feel good about that. Commute time, or the ease of getting around in Council Bluffs, that's a pretty significant thing for us to lean into. Mm-hmm. You get into Omaha, and your commute times start to go up depending on where you live and work, to 20, 30, maybe 45 minutes. And we get around pretty quickly here.
Yeah, except for when you think you can save some time by not taking the viaduct and then the train comes through.
Yeah. Well, that's where the historical knowledge of living in Council Bluffs comes in.
That viaduct is there for a reason.
That's right. So. Yeah. People really love our parks and outdoor trails, recreation facilities, arts, culture, entertainment, the quality of the schools. Areas where we're less satisfied would be the cost of taxes. I'm not sure you're going to survey any group of people and they're going to be satisfied with the taxes they pay, but so no surprise there. Availability of quality jobs, that's one that we really need to pay attention to. Also reflected in the Omaha metro area, Omaha Chamber conducted their own survey and found a similar result. The people that conducted that survey shared that that's a pretty nationwide issue, especially for young professionals, is not necessarily the pay, but the opportunity for advancement in their careers. That's coming up as a very high concern for a lot of young professionals. Public transportation looks like it's really in the dissatisfied area, but you can see that 40% of the people that responded said they were not sure. That tells me that a lot of the people that took the survey don't use public transportation, don't have a need for it, or generally just not really aware of what public transportation options are available.
Well, and I also, one of those stats I can speak to that where the park system is concerned. I did a park series on the show and went around and looked at a lot of different parks in Council Bluffs, took pictures, took videos. I went on a Monday evening, and every single park I went to had people in it. Every one of them.
That's great.
People use them.
Yeah.
And people enjoy them. And some of them had, there was a, looked to be like a 4 and 5 year old little girl t-ball game going on. And that was the kind of thing that kind of fed my soul. That as I'm going around town and I'm seeing people utilizing the services that we have here. So when it talks about people being proud of where they're at, that's just one of the reasons that I would say is for that.
We have great parks here, and not just in Council Bluffs. In all of Potawatomi County, we have some of the best parks in the state of Iowa, and a trail system that is second to none. On the way in here, I ran into Connie Casson and Joe Munch from the Trails Association. They told me that they talked to you a little bit about the trails programs, and they've just done a fantastic job of building out and connecting our trail systems, and we're fortunate to have all of those. Yeah. We asked, would you recommend the Council Bluffs area as a place to live to those that currently don't live here? 54% said absolutely yes. That's great. Only 22% said no outright. No. But 25% of the people said they were not sure. We were all a little confused about how to take this, because knowing that 85% of the people that took this survey have lived in Council Bluffs for 10 years or more, it's puzzling to answer that you were not quite sure if you would recommend Council Bluffs to other people. So it could mean a lot of things. The way that I'm choosing to take it is we're on the cusp of something here in Council Bluffs for those people, those 419 people that said they weren't quite sure. But we haven't sort of gotten over the hump. But that's an opportunity. That 25% are people that we can convert them to a yes. And part of the way that we do that is we get their feedback, and we hear from people, and we allow that information to inform where we go from here. Would you recommend, this is the same question, it's just kind of broken down into age groups, and you can see where some of the disconnection happens. That 18 to 24 age range, they responded pretty heavily, and no, they would not recommend Council Bluffs as a place to live. So we've got some work to do with those younger folks.
Well, let me ask you a question about this, though, because that is typically the age when you see young people leaving whatever hometown that they might be in. And because I've talked with people in communities all across southwest Iowa, and I run into more and more people who came back to raise their families, but they're outside of that age range. Yeah. So I wonder whether that can, it's kind of a natural thing. I want to get away from home. I want to explore and see what else is out there. And that's probably factoring into those numbers a little bit.
It's a natural thing. I don't think that there are many communities that are really doing well with that population in that regard. So it's probably a pretty typical and common thing. I know that when I was young, I wanted to kind of go explore some things, and I came back. And, I'm more passionate about improving and participating in Council Bluffs than I ever have been. And, I think there are a lot of boomerangs like me out there. We asked, what 2 things do you like most about living and working in Council Bluffs area? And these themes emerged. They were confirmed in the focus groups that people really love having the small town feel and size of Council Bluffs, but also the location of having the access to amenities in Omaha, being part of a larger metropolitan area. We get a little bit of the best of both worlds, but also just the community and sense of belonging, family roots, which we kind of touched on in the previous slide.
I have been preaching for a long time. I want a sign out at the edge of town that says Council Bluffs, the biggest small town in Iowa.
Yeah.
And that small town feel and size feeds right into it. A community this size shouldn't feel like a small town, but it does.
It does.
It does.
It's a theme that emerges across all of the work that we've done. So biggest takeaways from the survey, according to UNO, they feel like the people who took this survey are at an inflection point in how they see the community. Very hopeful. They think things are going in the right direction. A little bit of hesitation about whether or not they would promote Council Bluffs and suggest it to other people. But that's a good thing. That's something for us to build on. We can do something with that. Very deep, strong social connections. Respondents really, again, value the small town feel with access to the Omaha Metro. And we really have pretty good jobs here. People are optimistic about their career potential, and that's great. But we do need to continue investing in how we can bring a little bit more of those high quality, higher wage jobs to Council Bluffs. That survey was much more robust than that. I only brought in a few of those takeaways, but the full survey results, as I mentioned before, on the website.
So just at the Chamber website?
On the Chamber website, and the iOS Foundation website has it posted there too.
Right. So I would encourage everyone, go take a look, see what the survey said.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just data. This is
Right.
This is us talking.
Right.
And this is what was compiled from it. So it's not, in a lot of cases, it's probably not going to say anything you already didn't know, but maybe you didn't know your neighbors were also thinking the same thing.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Agree.
So I'm optimistic about this. Obviously, there is work to do in order to be able to raise that younger population. I think a lot of the things that the Chamber is doing is helping with that. You've really put a focus in, and from what I have heard about the attendance at some of the young professionals meetings, that there's something to build there because they're coming out and they're getting together.
We've been really intentional at the Chamber on what we can do from a retention standpoint. And, you know, I think our primary goal is employers are investing in their employees. They care about retaining their employees. They're investing in training, and they have their own programs. We're not trying to supplant anything that employers are doing. We want to support them and supplement what they are doing from an employee retention standpoint by connecting their employees to the community side of things. So, you know, our efforts this year, and will continue and expand in 2026, is helping to build those networks. So the Young Professionals Network is one of them. But we are intentionally working on ways to get the employees of our largest employers in Council Bluffs connected to each other, connected to opportunities in the community to volunteer, to serve on boards, to find interest groups that they're passionate about, and to have a voice in shaping the future of Council Bluffs. I think when people are, when individuals are more connected to each other and more connected to the community, we all win from a retention standpoint. So, you know, we've got a lot of different things happening at the Chamber next year that will be intentionally focused on trying to achieve that.
Well, I'm, as I mentioned right at the beginning of this, I'm excited about what's going on. I see a lot of reasons for optimism. There's a reason why we're sitting where we are right now is because I do have that optimism.
Yeah.
You know, that stepping back out into the commercial studio space again and making an investment the way that I have is because I see where things are headed. Mm-hmm. So grateful that you're spearheading all of this and that you're leading the way with this, and grateful for everybody on your team. I mean, I have a good working relationship with everybody at the Chamber.
Good.
And
That's good to hear.
It's been positive just from top to bottom all the way through, and I'm looking forward to learning more. And as we continue on down this path and some of the different programs the Chamber's putting into place, let us know. We'll help spread the word. And I would love to just be yet another source of information.
That'd be great.
All right. This is Chris LaFerla, and he is the Chamber President and CEO, Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
That was great. Thank you.
So part 2 of our conversation with Chris LaFerla coming up tomorrow. Did you notice that the episode looks a little different? Well, this is going to be this way on tomorrow's show too, but my friend Kyle Ranney, a partner here at the studios on Willow, was very gracious in helping me put together this multicam image and episode for you to kind of see a little bit more about what it is that we do here at the studios on Willow. So that's, I think it looks pretty cool, and I can definitely see how we are going to continue to transfer into that style of podcasting here at the studios on Willow and here on Morning Coffee. If you like driving, you know you can get paid for it as a first student bus driver. You'll work short hours and earn a competitive wage while making a difference in the lives of children, and that pay starts with a sign-on bonus. Fully licensed drivers get a sign-on bonus of $4,000, and if you don't have your CDL yet, your sign-on bonus is $3,000 once that CDL is obtained. Plus, every driver gets on-the-job training, so don't wait. Apply at workatfirst.com. S&B Country Kennel, the top spot in southwest Iowa when you need to know your dog will receive only the best. Boarding, daycare, grooming, self-washing, training, and even a membership available to a dog park over an acre in size. And S&B Country Kennel also has rescue dogs, so check with them about adoption possibilities. Located just west of I-29 on Bunkie Avenue, south of Council Bluffs. Country Kennel, sandbcountrykennel.com. That's country spelled with a K. And if you're looking for a laid-back spot that has great food and even better company, it's the Mile Away in Council Bluffs. This family-run bar and grill is your go-to for mouth-watering wings, unbeatable weekly specials, and a welcoming atmosphere that feels like home. Be sure to follow them online. You can find them at the Mile Away on Facebook and on Instagram, and they post a lot of what their daily special is, and you also see some one-offs, like I saw just recently that they had meatloaf. There's some homemade meatloaf. So just wonderful family atmosphere when you head to the Mile Away, north on Old Lincoln Highway, just north of Council Bluffs. That's going to wrap up today's show. Part 2 with Chris LaFerla is coming up tomorrow. We hope that you join us then. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.